journey. So thank you so much for being with us here today. Those of you on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's great to have you. Feel free to start greeting us. Say good morning, even if you're shy and you have no questions or comments today. We love to just at least get a greeting from you in the chat. So we can keep an eye on the chat here. I can also keep an eye on Instagram. Hi, good morning, Chunksman. Good morning, O'Shean. Good morning, Suzanne. Hi, Rising Star. Hi, Maxine. Keep saying hi to us. We're happy to have you here. All right. So as you know, Aston and I can talk on and on forever about all kinds of health topics, but we would love to make this agenda.
You mean we can ramble.
Can ramble, could bore the heck out of you. So we'd like this to be about you and your agenda. So feel free to start putting any questions or comments or concerns with your health, any questions you have about NuSpecies formulas, the company, you could start putting those into the chat. And all of you who are always coming up with your questions right as we're ending the show, feel free to go download our app, and on the app homepage, you'll see a form where you can submit your question at any time. We will get those emails and we can always bring those up right away. Having said that, Aston, I do believe we did get a pre-submitted question this week.
Okay, and while you pull it up, I'll just remind everyone that you all need to be on NuGenesis. NuGenesis is the newest NuSpecies formula. I've been working on it for over 20 years, and finally, we got the ingredients together, the formulation together a few years ago. All the ingredients are now approved by the FDA, so it's officially out. And it's a formula that will support your body to purify, rebuild genes and DNA. And it's a perfect formula to use along with all the other formulas, especially the rebuilding formulas and the anti-inflammatory. So based on the fact that we now have NuGenesis, finally, after 20 years of being in the works, we now have a new package for prostate support for men's health, and we now have a new package, starter package, for women's health support as well, whether you have fibroids or ovarian cysts, dense breasts, you have thyroid nodules, have hormonal imbalance, menopause. Yes, we have finally put together the final link. This is the final piece in this extraordinary project that we have been working on called NuSpecies to help you to live better and live longer. This is the final piece. So you all get a NuGenesis. And for you guys who have prostate issues, you should talk to me, ladies. You should talk to me if you have all those women's health issues, including menopause, that you need to get help with. So let's get rolling. So you found the question, Joe?
I did, and actually, it was actually about how we were not getting back to everybody last week. They were like, "Why are you not calling me back?" So yeah, last week, sorry guys, we had our discount promotion, and we were swamped with phone calls and emails and texts and people coming into the stores, and our team was really struggling to keep up with all the calls. I believe as of yesterday, they started to try to get back to everyone. So if you haven't heard back from us, or as long as we see that you called or tried to reach us during the discount period, we'll always extend the discount for you. So don't get stressed out. But that discount did end this past Sunday. And, you know, as long as you're on our email list or on our app or on our text list, you will always find out whenever we have another promotion. So don't worry about that. But yeah, it was related to that. So if you're someone who still hasn't heard back from us, if you are texting or calling Aston directly on his number and you haven't gotten a call back, try calling our client service line, and at least to sometimes, Aston, and you can speak to this, but I feel like there are people who are texting you or calling you about things that like our team could definitely answer. And if Aston has 90 missed calls, he's not going to get back to you as soon as you would like. So you could just give our client services team a try, see if we could help you out, or even potentially get Aston's attention if you have an urgent issue and expedite your need. But if you just call Aston directly, he's only one person. He typically has a booked calendar every single day. So if you're calling him or texting him out of the blue, it's not likely that it's going to be more efficient to reach out to him directly, go through our team.
I can tell you, Jill, that my clients, they're so special. They are so exceptionally special. So
And how
they
they
call
yell at
me,
you when you
they call me and they chat me, they text me, and they email me. And one of the reasons why they're so extraordinary, is because each one of them gets such good attention when they do get me, that they believe that they're the only client I have on the earth, the only client.
got it.
They get such special attention, that they believe I only have one client, just them, and I love it.
So you're really
I
complimenting
love.
yourself then.
Oh, no, I'm saying that they appreciate the service that they get from
Yes. Yeah.
NuSpecies. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I have to
So
say, our clients are very patient. But sometimes when I check out your text, I see questions that I know I could have answered or someone could have answered, and then they're waiting, way too long to get those answers. So always give our client service team a try.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. And our team is trained to
And
know. Our team is trained to know what kinds of questions that they shouldn't answer or try to answer, and they will always then be like, "Yeah, unfortunately, you are gonna have to wait for Aston to call you back." So they won't send you the wrong way. Don't worry. All
And
right.
on that
Yeah.
note, I
Mhm.
am also more in the office, folks. I'm actually in Bronxville today. I'm here until 6 p.m. today. So I'm several days a week during the week I'll be here in Bronxville for the foreseeable future. So if
Mhm.
you want to just pop in and see me, you don't need an appointment. Just come on in. Doesn't matter where you are, in New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, wherever you are, just pop in on those days that are designated for me to be here, and just pop in. No appointment necessary. That's probably now the best way to reach me.
Mhm. And although Aston, it does look like you're in a warehouse over there. That's actually the back of the Bronxville store where we store all the products. It looks much nicer if you look in the other direction. All right. So we do have a question from Rising Star. I wanted to know
Mhm.
exactly how sugar and meat affect the body's ability to heal.
Okay, go. Please repeat.
I wanted to know exactly how sugar and meat affect the body's ability to heal.
Oh, that's a really wonderful question. It has to do with foods. So yes, so sugar, people, is not a nutrient. It's a chemical. It's a compound. If our bodies make sugar called glucose, then it is a biochemical. But the sugar that you generally consume is a compound, and it's poison. It depresses the immune system. And that's one of the biggest issues with using sugar, is that it is so acidic when it hits our liver. It is so acidic that it depresses the immune system, and it depresses the immune system by the immune system trying to destroy it. The immune system is distracted trying to destroy sugar and salt, for that matter. But you really want your immune system to be killing cancer cells, killing viruses, killing bacteria and parasites and microbes. You don't want your immune system distracted by sugar and salt. So that's the major destruction that sugar does to our body. It depresses the immune system because it distracts the immune system from doing the work that it should be doing by the immune system trying to remove it. We're literally just wasting white blood cells, because our bodies only have so many white blood cells, and you really want them to focus on fighting cancer cells and viruses and bacteria. Now when it comes to meat is an issue if the animals are grown with steroids or growth hormones. And what I have observed over the past 20 years is that a lot of women who come to me, who have fibroids or ovarian cysts or dense breasts, and any one of these organs can turn to cancer. Meat may have contributed because of the chronic hormonal imbalance they have. So here we go now. We're talking about chemical growth hormones, chemical steroids. A lot of the farmers feed the animals with these compounds to make the animals big and fat and heavier, have more muscles. So it weighs more and they can make more money. So I only recommend though to people not to eat meat if they have hormonal issues, cholesterol issues, and other liver issues, or if they have gallbladder issues, because meat has massive protein molecules that are hard to break down. So if you have a gallbladder issue, if you have a liver issue, you have a hormonal issue, you should avoid meat completely, because now eating meat, if it has, and how do you know it doesn't have added steroids and growth hormones and other pharmaceuticals, antibiotics they give the animals? How do you know it doesn't have it? Especially if you're fighting cancer, you're fighting prostate issues, gentlemen. Ladies, you're fighting fibroids and ovarian cysts and dense breasts, all these issues. And I know a lot of you over the years haven't listened to me, and I hope you listen to me now. If you have any of these issues that I just mentioned, you should not be eating meat until your body has healed itself completely. And yes, sugar and salt are not foods, they are compounds. They're not food, they're not nutrients. They taste good, but they're not nutrients. They're very, very destructive. I think meat, sugar, and salt, because of the steroids and growth hormones that some animals have added by the farmers, I think those are three of the worst foods to be eaten, especially if you have any disease condition, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, hormonal issues. Those are the worst foods for you to eat, because these foods actively destroy the body, destroy cells, and destroy the immune system because they're so acidic. So I mentioned meat and protein and the steroids and growth hormones. Those are chemicals. And when they interact with the hormonal systems in our body, you know what's going to happen. You can have high testosterone or too low testosterone, high estrogen, too low estrogen, progesterone too high or low. They just create havoc in our bodies.
Yeah, and I'll take it even a step further. Why I would say it's generally not part of a balanced diet, despite the FDA's recommendations, which are highly influenced by lobbies from big corporations. But why it would not be part of a balanced diet to include meat or sugar, but meat typically being considered a food group where sugar is not. You're not doing anything for your health without a health gut microbiome. That means like all of those healthy bacteria that normally would populate your intestines and process the food that you eat, they contribute to every aspect of your health. What feeds that healthy bacteria is fiber, and meat has zero fiber. So in order to feed a healthy gut microbiome, you have to be consuming fiber, which is plants, vegetables, whole grains, seeds, nuts, things like that. And meat has no fiber. So every time you eat meat, you're actually feeding different kinds of bacteria known as pathogens, so disease-causing bacteria. The only way to stop those disease-causing bacteria is to stop eating the things that feed them, like processed foods, meat, things without any fiber. So I would take it even a step further, that if you don't want to get sick, you probably don't want to be eating meat at all. But I think from Aston's point of view, which is a more conservative point of view or balanced point of view, which is to say, okay, we're all going to eat things we probably shouldn't eat, whether it is chips or cake on our birthday or meat sometimes. Let's not eat it under any illusions that it's contributing to our health, and certainly not contributing to healing, which gets back to the question.
Yeah, yes, my response was conservative, but I can make it a little more liberal. I can tell you folks affirmatively and positively that the worst food on the earth to eat is meat. There's no food that has more parasites, more bacteria, more viruses, more chemicals, no food, no food, no food, no food. And when you eat them, keep in mind that if you cook food up to, let's say, 200 degrees, it's not going to kill some of the bad bacteria in the meat. So you could boil the meat, roast the meat, cook the meat. You're not going to get rid of all the parasites and the bacteria in it. You won't. And you consume it. And now you, as Jillian just mentioned, you have added bad microbes, viruses, bacteria, parasites to your biome, or to your, to your good bacteria in the small intestine. So, on a final note, our ancient ancestors were only eating about 10% meat, and they were eating 10% meat only when they were in starvation, when they have these global climate changes and the plants had dried up and they had no choice but to eat some meat. So, and Jill also mentioned fiber. One of the major food groups that support our ancestors' early life are sedges. Sedges are grass. There are various types of grass. They would eat the grass. Well, you can eat it raw. Sedges, you can eat it raw. Just like we have the barley grass, the alfalfa that's in our formulas, in our LU
Wheatgrass.
formulas. Those are forms of sedges. So, and that's why we have them in there. And our ancient ancestors would eat the roots, and that's how they would get a lot of their fiber. And you can eat you can eat a lot of these raw. So that is the genetic makeup of humans. All humans who come from the ancient ancestors, our genes were built with sedges and other fruits and vegetables, and about 10% meat.
Yeah.
Now you all know it.
So Megan James, hi Megan. She says, I have heard so much about coconut oil. What are your thoughts on the benefits of using coconut oil? So this is such a tough one because what I find, there's two main things behind most nutrition fads that come and go. The first one is a company's trying to sell something. So typically, once you hear about the amazing benefits of some one type of, sometimes as specific as an enzyme like CoQ10, and sometimes as broad as an entire food group, whether it's meat, because there are literally diet fads right now that are geared around eating 100% meat as if that is going to make you healthy. So there's that, like somebody trying to sell something, or there's an agenda, or they're promoting something. The second thing behind a lot of these trends, and I'll get to the coconut oil specifically, is usually because some study, whether it is a valid study or a study that has results that are really significant that we should pay attention to, but a study will say that there is some component to this thing, whether it's coconut oil, that is good for you. But very often, what has been missed, and I'd say almost all the time this happens, is they're not thinking about, like, okay, in order to get access to that nutrient or chemical or thing in this promoted food, your body has to be able to digest it. And if your body can't digest it, it doesn't matter if there is a God-given miracle ingredient in that food. If your body can't digest it, you won't be benefiting from that. Or even if there is some benefits from that piece of that food, if the food overall has a damaging effect to the body, it's not worth consuming. Because most likely, whatever health benefits they are saying you're going to get from the promoted food, in this case, coconut oil, you probably can get those same health benefits from a plant or some other whole food source that is perfectly safe and has many other health benefits along with it. So having said that, Aston has long, to most people's annoyance, said the body can't process oil. Oil in any form is not good for you. So this is where I'll let you take over, Aston.
So, and that's true. A lot of people who use oils, their bodies just can't process it because, again, we mentioned it before, the lipids, are the proteins the molecules are huge, and your body has to be able to break it down. Your liver has to be able to break it down. Your gallbladder has assists the liver to break down fats and proteins that we consume. So that is why, oils are so hard to digest. Now, speaking of coconut, and Joan, I hope you're taking notes there. So
She already said she
the
is.
two best foods that I have encountered in my research and studies, the two best foods on planet Earth, the two best complete whole foods, the two best. One is coconut, but the coconut you have to eat it raw. You can't put it in a pot and boil it or fry it to get oil. So the best way to use coconut, especially the dried coconut, is to eat it raw. When you eat the dried coconut raw, it has all the vitamins and all the minerals. And the only comparison is bee pollen. That's the only comparison to eating the raw coconut. So that's the way our ancient ancestors were eating coconuts. The other number two best food on the earth is sweet potato. Sweet potato that, I think in the United States, it's called yams. Some people call it yams, but the sweet potato, when you eat it raw, not cook. Once you boil it, you're destroying some of the vitamins, you're destroying some of the minerals, you're destroying all the enzymes. So that's why these two foods, any human can live on these two foods alone, and they easily, if they shut up getting hit by a bus or a truck, they should be able to live 100 years. Sweet potato, eat it raw. Coconut, dried coconut, eat it raw. Two of the most two complete whole foods in the earth.
Then when you talk about living in the US and being subject to the agricultural practices here, these foods are probably not what they used to be, especially when our ancestors ate them. But that's still not a reason to say, well, I guess I'm just going to eat processed food or some other kind of junk that doesn't make sense, right? So having said that, I wouldn't put all, I think the marketing for different food products or different nutrients it's a very, very powerful wave. It's so hard to escape it, but they're always pushing the next like one thing. But truthfully, to have a healthy lifestyle and a healthy body, we need to be eating a huge diversity of lots of delicious, healthy vegetables and plant-based foods. There isn't really like one thing you're going to consume that is going to make the difference. So, the foods that Aston just mentioned, those are excellent. And then, adding in a huge diversity of other vegetables. But to say like just switching out maybe coconut oil for olive oil, is that going to really make the difference in your health? Probably not. There's a whole movement for dietary changes called Forks Over Knives. They had a documentary that they made like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. And they promote no oil at all. So they are plant-based, so no meat, no dairy, whole grains, but also no oil. And that's, you can find a lot of vegan recipes where you're avoiding meat and dairy and processed foods, but then they're still cooking with oil. Forks Over Knives teaches you how to not cook with oil, which is a whole different sort of cooking. And I still find it very difficult, but it's worth trying. So if you're going to be making any changes, maybe try to just reduce oil altogether rather than switching the oil and fooling yourself into thinking you're doing something healthy.
Right. And we're not saying that you shouldn't use oil. We're just saying that some people just can't digest it. And if you consume it, you're going to make more fat cells. You're going to push up your cholesterol. You're going to push up your triglycerides. And you could create fatty liver issues because that's what oil does. Oil is very potent. It's one of the most potent foods there is. And those of you who study, the way our bodies create energy, oil is one of the values that can allow our bodies to create a lot of energy, and that's why a lot of people love oil. But not everyone can digest it. That's the problem. So we're not saying oil is bad. It has benefits. It has great benefits, but it also can be very destructive to health if your body can't break down those massive lipids or protein molecules. Your liver,
Yeah.
the liver and the gallbladder, those are the two organs that we use to break down these huge protein molecules and lipids. So you have to decide based on your lab reports or your health, what whether oil is good for you or not.
And I think we're like what Aston is saying is like is really important because this is the stuff you're not going to hear when a company is promoting something they want you to buy. Is that it's just weighing those pros and cons and making the decision based on your specific health situation. So consuming oil in small amounts is probably not going to be the end of your health, especially if you're eating so many vegetables and other plant-based foods. But I just think it's important to not consume it thinking you're doing something like healthy for you.
Hmm.
And that's where you just know keeping it in small amounts as whenever necessary, whenever you really crave it for whatever reason, fine. But keeping in mind what actually is going on with your health and is that something you should be consuming right now? Maxine just piggybacks off of this and says, does the jelly of the young coconut give the same benefits?
So the jelly, just like you think of sprouts, right? The sprouts of plants usually are more powerful because they're growing, they're creating more biochemicals. So that's why a lot of companies or organizations they promote eating sprouts. One example is wheatgrass. If wheatgrass if you have it too long and not use it, it can start create a lot of inflammation in the body because over time the chemicals they lose a lot of the enzymes, and now you're consuming more chemicals than the natural enzymes and the chlorophyll that are in there. You could compare that to the jelly of the coconut. So the jelly is very potent. It has a lot more enzymes and amino acids and proteins. So yes, the jelly has more nutrients than the dry coconut. The dry coconut is time, right? When something is young, it's more green and vibrant. And then as it gets a little older, it loses a lot of the chemicals and structure. So yes, so even though the dry coconut is good, it's the end result of time. It's the
Mm,
end of life when it gets coconut is dried. It's the end of life.
mm. All right, so we're gonna get to Diana now. So Diana's asking, they just discovered that I have one clogged artery on the left side of my neck. They prescribed me two medicines. One is it's a statin. I don't know. I'm not going to get the accent on the right syllable here, but she's saying rosuvastatin.
Hmm.
And then or maybe calcium 10 milligrams. Maybe that's the whole thing. Rosuvastatin calcium. Is there like Diana? Just confirm if you're saying calcium is like a separate recommendation from the statin, or that's like the whole name of the statin. I haven't heard of that. Rosuvastatin, calcium, 10 milligrams, and one aspirin, 10 milligrams. I'm assuming as a result, she's saying she changed her diet, eating salmon, more salad like arugula, basil, red and green cabbage, oatmeal with fat free. I'm assuming that means she meant to say milk. Um, I asked her if she had a specific question. So Diana, feel free to keep chatting if you can, but I think overall she's just trying to ask if like what to do in this situation. Is there some kind of threat she should be aware of? Like they're just prescribing medication. Is that okay for a clot in your neck? And are her diet yeah, she's saying I'm right. And then are these diet changes appropriate? And so all of the stuff she wants to know about the situation.
Right. So those are good diet changes to start with. If you are taking a statin, any of you who is taking a statin, it means that you have a lot of lipids or fat in your that called cholesterol. So it could be lipids, which are triglycerides, or cholesterol, whether good or bad. If the good cholesterol is too high, it too becomes destructive. And speaking of protein molecule, that's why cholesterol is so dangerous because the molecules in cholesterol are huge. They're fat, based molecules, lipids. So they're very powerful, and that's why they clog up blood vessels because they naturally attach to one another, and thicken, and then they block the blood vessel. So you should also be taking a blood thinner if you have a clot, so close to your brain. Because if you have a clot, and if it could break off, they want to scare you, but just want to make sure you're having good conversations with your doctor. So yes, you should cut out meat, you should cut out dairy, you should cut out all fatty foods. And even if you're going to do vitamin D, you should do low doses, very, very low dose of vitamin D. Even if it's our vitamin D, you probably should only take one of our soft gel daily if you're taking our vitamin D, because you have high cholesterol because your liver is pumping out too much fat, and cholesterol is. And if you have a blockage so close to the brain, in one of your veins or your arteries, then you should just cut out all fat and meat-based products for maybe 6 months to a year. And then Jillian mentioned eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. That's going to help a lot. And then if you want to add in NuSpecies, we have a basic cholesterol starter. You could do that. And then you should find out from your doctor the amount of exercise you could do, and you should be consuming good amount of water. You should find out from your doctor if you have blockages elsewhere, especially around your heart or your lung. You should really find out, what you should be doing in terms of intaking water. And yes, if you should be taking at least a blood thinner, whether it's any blood thinner. You should ask your doctor, because if you have a blockage so close to your brain, you really need to be thinning out your blood, and that's what eating
She
certain foods will do, and that's why avoiding certain foods will allow less fat to be in your blood, so that over time, especially if you're taking NuSpecies, taking our starter with our LNU and our detox, it will help to also clean your blood, promote more oxygen in your blood, so that your body can start to burn away the plaque or the blockage. That's what you really want. Our bodies will eat these things. So you change your diet, change your lifestyle, take what I recommend, and your body going to convert those plaque proteins into nutrients. That's the way our bodies work. You convert bad things into good things.
So she was saying that she's on the aspirin. I'm assuming that is the blood thinner, the low dose of aspirin.
Yes. Okay,
And
good.
then she said, yes, you're right. The blockage is in my neck. I was eating too much bread and cheese. I'm not overweight, and I will follow your recommendations. Thank you. Yeah, so you're on the right path, Diana. So that's good. And listen, there's so many people who get diagnosed with something. They have that initial fear, but then they get recommended medication, and they falsely are led to believe, because doctors don't typically explain this, is that the medication is just treating the symptom. They think that, okay, the medication is going to fix the problem, and so they just sort of move on, live the same lifestyle, take the medicine, and just kind of live in denial that they have a life-threatening situation. So you immediately took action, and that is really commendable. I just want to tell you that's huge. I mean, bread and cheese is freaking delicious. So I get it. Like, that is not something people want to give up, especially if you're not overweight and you don't feel like you have any other reason to change your diet, and you took action right away. Certainly, blood clot is a very scary thing, but most diagnoses are actually quite scary, and people don't see it that way because it just seems so normal and common. We forget that these are actually very dangerous health situations. So you're doing great. I look forward to hearing updates.
Right. And finally, on that note, yes, you have the blockage there, but keep in mind that high cholesterol for all of you, high cholesterol, whether it's the LDL or HDL, high cholesterol is the number one cause of heart disease. And heart disease is the number one killer of the human species. So if you have high cholesterol, get rid of it as quickly as you can. Call
She didn't
us
mention she
and let
had
us
high
help you.
cholesterol, but I'm assuming being on a statin would usually indicate that you have cholesterol. I don't know, Diana, if you want to clarify that.
Yeah, statins are primarily recommended for high cholesterol or high triglycerides.
Okay. She
Yeah.
didn't say that, so
Mhm.
I would be interested to know if that is also a situation, Diana. Let us know. In the meantime, we've got go here to oh, okay. Rosemary Taylor was just going back to the coconut oil, saying, my mom has dementia, and I understand that taking coconut oil can slow it down. I don't know about that. I would say eating, if you look into the work Dr. Will Bolsowitz is doing, his book is called Fiber Fueled, and he has done tons of studies that show that just eating more plants actually slows dementia and Alzheimer's. So I would not get too crazy into the oil stuff. I'd go straight to the plants, the whole food source. That's what the body needs. That's what the body knows historically. From ancient times, we've evolved eating plants. That's what the body needs. So,
Right,
um,
and that's a good point. So you all should just be aware that when you consume oils of any kind, even if it's healthy oil, raw coconut oil, raw olive oil, virgin olive oil, even those create massive amount of inflammation in the body. And especially if you don't have a very good digestive system, which you all should know, if you're gassy and constipated and bloated and have indigestion and acid reflux and any one of those you have a digestive issue, meaning that your liver, your pancreas not breaking down the foods correctly or properly. So oils create the most inflammation and acids in our bodies, especially if our bodies are not properly breaking it down. And when you have more acid in the bloodstream, you have less oxygen. And when you have less oxygen in the bloodstream, you are going to get cancers, dementia, Parkinson, Alzheimer. These are all inflammatory conditions. These are all inflammatory, acidic conditions in our bodies. So you don't feed them. And that's one of the things we
yeah, it's so
discover
scary.
over the years, Joe, we have hired dietitians, certified dietitians, we have hired nutritionists, certified nutritionists, life coaches, naturopathic doctors,
NDs,
we
ND,
have
yeah.
medical doctors. We have gone through all of that, people. And what we discover from most of these farmer employees we have, that we discovered that their training was grossly deficient. And when they make recommendations for foods for people to eat who have certain disease conditions, they have no idea what they're doing. And a lot of you could be facing the same situation. Food science is critically important to know if you have certain diseases, because even good foods can make certain diseases worse. If you have high cholesterol and you're eating organic meats, grass-fed meat, it can make your cholesterol worse. Just an
Yeah.
example.
It's just really scary that knowing Alzheimer's and dementia are caused by these chronic inflammation in the body to then recommend foods that cause inflammation. It's just that's. Ew. I'm glad that you're here and you're asking these questions. Oil is not the
Mhm.
answer.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to share, what we know. And fortunately for all of you who are on, what we know is what we have observed with working with tens of thousands of you worldwide, reviewing your labs, your images. So when we speak from facts. And if we're speculating, we're going to tell you we speculate. And you all know by now that in this program, we don't speculate. We call it like it is.
Yeah, and also, we've been, at least formally, since NuSpecies has been incorporated, doing this for 16 years, but we both were on our own health journeys prior to meeting each other, prior to Aston inventing NuSpecies formulas. And we have really lived through like the birth of the whole natural holistic movement, and have seen so many trends come and go. One thing that was healthy now causes cancer. Now it's healthy again, then it causes cancer. I mean, we have seen all of these things. And so we've become a bit immune to all of these fads and stuff. And it's really frustrating if you're getting your nutritional information on social media. Please stop. They can just promote anything and they make it look sexy and cool. everything's a silver bullet. This will solve all your problems. It's very rarely true. If it seems too simple, it's probably not the right information, or at least it may only work for a very small amount of people. So just like, please come back here, keep asking us all your questions. And I know our answers are not always the sexiest, the coolest, the most convenient, but health is a lot more complicated than companies trying to sell you stuff, make it out to be. I mean, look, we sell health products and we do this Q&A because we know how complicated it is to sell products that like really work with how your body works, which is not simple. Okay, we've got questions piling in, so let me just. All right, so 2 folks are asking about NuGenesis. So we've got Nesta. Hi, Nesta. Queen Nesta says, I just got my NuGenesis. I want to know how it should be taken. And then over on Instagram, we've got Oshan, or sorry if I'm butchering however that should be said, but Oshan says, hi, Aston, I hear you talking about NuGenesis on WZZP. Thank you so much, a Florida listener. He wants to know, or she wants to know, what is good to build my immune system? I did get the COVID vaccine, but I notice mucus draining. So what do you recommend? So it sounds like Ashan is on the right path with asking about NuGenesis. So let's just talk a little bit more about how NuGenesis can help Ashan with the immune system, and then tell Nesta how it should be taken.
So for immune system now, because of NuGenesis, we are now making a lot of changes with our recommendations, as I mentioned earlier. So NuGenesis has now given us the platform, the foundation to help you to get better faster from the issues you have. Because NuGenesis support the genes and the DNA. It helps to purify the genes, purify the DNA. You all know that genes and DNA are the foundation of all life forms on the earth, all life forms. And probably that's why it took me so long to invent this formula, over 20 years. So NuGenesis is going to be, one of the main formulas you use to support any issue you have, whether it's cancer, blood pressure, diabetes, hormonal issues, guys, prostate issues, ladies, if you have hormonal issues, you have fibroids, ovarian cysts, breast. So this is the basic package that we're going to put together to support the immune system, to help the body kill cancer cells, viruses, bacteria, parasites. Going to be NuGenesis. They're going to be the anti-inflammatory, along with the L-Nu1. And the L-Nu1, we have an 8-ounce. So you can start with the 8-ounce L-Nu1. You can start with the 8-ounce NuGenesis, and you add in the anti-inflammatory. Those 3 are what we're going to start using to help a lot of you out there who have issues with infections, whether it's viruses, bacteria, microbes, parasites. That's the basic. We can go way more potent, but I think the basics is going to work for over 90% of you all to support your immune system. So NuGenesis, the L-Nu1, and the anti-inflammatory. So if you're someone who are troubled with infections and colds and flus and all these issues, you have past cancer, these 3 formulas are what you can use. There's 3 of the more basic formulas we have in terms of the recommendation. And I believe, based on what I've seen over the past several years with NuGenesis and with L-Nu and the anti-inflammatory, a lot of you are going to be able to spend a whole lot less money to get results a lot faster at NuSpecies. So the NuGenesis, the L-Nu1, and the anti-inflammatory. That is going to be, it's a basic package, but it is extraordinarily powerful. It is highly concentrated and very, very potent. And the results we're seeing already is just quite amazing, just exceptional. So again, we make recommendation based on what we see from people getting results. Everything we do is result oriented. We sell results. Just listen to us. You can take a teaspoon or a tablespoon of the NuGenesis once daily or twice daily. It's up to you. The more you take, is the faster you likely will get better. Same thing with the L-Nu1. You can take a teaspoon or a tablespoon once or twice daily. The more you take, same thing, faster you're going to get better. The anti-inflammatory, no different. You can take a teaspoon or a tablespoon daily. The more you take, is the faster you're going to get better. And And when you take NuSpecies, folks, if you get the 8 ounce bottles, don't worry about the small bottle. It's the potency. Don't matter how it lasts. We could convert the 8 ounce bottle to last you 3 months. You're just not going to get better faster. So you're just going to extend your recovery 3 months or more. So it lasts 2 weeks. So it's potent, and the minute you take it, it's beginning to help your body to support itself.
Okay. All right. We've got a well-documented case here for sultry Sashi, so I want to get to her. But just quickly, Rosemary Taylor was asking that her husband's father has prostate cancer, so he can take NuGenesis, right? And I told her absolutely. All right.
So let's speak to that a little bit, since the question comes up with prostate cancer. When my dad died of prostate cancer, folks, this is the formula I started creating to help people with cancer, especially prostate cancer. So now you get the picture.
It's kind of what you wish you had, right?
Right, exactly. And it took over 20 years to get where we are, but we're here now. So those of you who have these issues with prostate, and ladies, if you have issues with your uterus, whether it's fibroids, ovarian cysts, and dense breast, and all these issues, you should just you should get started. That's why I've been saying now, I want everybody on it. Now you know why. Support the genes and DNA. If you're supporting the genes and DNA, you're supporting your life. You're supporting your whole body. The foundation of life is genes and DNA. The foundation of all life forms, plants and animals, viruses, bacteria, microbes, parasites, everything. The foundation of all life form, genes and DNA. And when you're supporting those, you're giving your body the best chance to live a little better and live a little longer.
And I have to say, just from a practical standpoint, because NuGenesis tastes a bit better. I mean, it has a little bit of spice to it, and kind of will catch you there in the back of your throat, a little after shock. But overall, the taste is not so bad, to the point where like even our children will take it pretty willingly over some of the other formulas we've made them take in the past. But I recently had just did a little traveling with our son, and he got a cold and he was coughing and sneezing, and the normal thing with a child who's 8 is, come on, take your NuSpecies. Oh, I don't feel like it. All right. But then one morning he woke up and was like, I am tired of coughing. And he went and shook the bottle and poured it himself and drank it. And he's been taking it every morning since. And I know that I almost got whatever he had, because I was getting like a mild headache. I was feeling a little like coughing, a little itching in my throat, but I just kept taking it. And I mix it with the El-Nu because I don't like to take any chances. And I have been fine and feeling good. And it just works so fast and it's so powerful. Even our 8-year-old is like, all right, I guess I need to take it. That's how great it is. Okay. So let's get to sultry. Okay. So sultry has, her pre-existing chronic condition is fibroids, but she is losing weight rapidly, and none of her doctors know what is going on, but they're also like, she's in that in-between phase where they're basically telling her nothing is wrong, but she knows something is wrong. She said that she tried changing her diet, but it doesn't help, because when I try to rebuild my muscles by incorporating proteins, it worsens my fibroids. So this is a good call back to what we were talking about before, is actually appropriate sources of protein, because I'm assuming by incorporating protein, sultry, you probably mean meat, which would be inflammatory and not good for fibroids. She said she did take the cleanse and detoxify, but she wasn't consistent. And she's just not sure what's going on with her body. She's trying to gain weight. She's lost over 50 pounds in a matter of months. And she knows that like you can go to bed one weight and wake up in the morning like 5 pounds less. But when she looks at what's been happening over months, she's losing a lot of weight, and it's not just like water weight. And she's extremely worried because her doctors are just saying she's okay. And she knows she can't be.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the food changes she's been trying to make to not lose weight are probably also not helping.
Right. I would like to see your labs, all your blood test results, your recent, and if you have done imaging. I'd like to see your images as well, MRI, CAT scan, X-rays, anything you've done. I'd like to see those because weight loss, sudden weight loss is never good, as you all know. So, but it can be caused from, different things. It could be infection, it could be chemicals. There's just so many things that could be causing sudden weight loss. But I would need to see the lab so we can drill down and determine the cause. And I'm sorry the doctors are not able to diagnose what's going on. And, but we'll do our best to help.
I also tried healthy carbohydrates to help gain weight, but that's also worsens the fibroids. So, Sultry, this is what I would call medical prison, which is once we've developed a medical condition, it's sometimes the solutions we need to put in place can then create more issues with the medical condition that we're trying to fix. And we end up in this vicious cycle and we feel like we can't get out. So I call that medical prison. But the good news is like very often, even when you or your doctors don't know what's wrong, your body does know what's wrong. And if we give your body the tools, it can start working for you, even when we don't know exactly what's going on. And that's where NuSpecies can be so helpful, is that you're getting raw plant-based liquid formulas. So there's no work your body has to do to absorb and utilize the nutrition in our formulas. And we can let your body go to work on what it knows it needs to do without waiting to find out if there's some kind of formal diagnosis. Because very often, like you said, the doctors don't think can't tell you something is wrong unless they can diagnose it, which means it has to fit the criteria in this book. And then they can't treat it unless this book says, here's the legal prescription you can give for this issue. And as you know, fibroids are correlated with your lifestyle. So it sounds like you need some more specific guidance. Aston would love to look at your labs, your blood work, any scans you have, anything that can give him some more insight. He's going to look at them from a
Yeah, but urinalysis as well, that's very key. Just to see what your biochemistry looks like. Everything comes down to our biochemistry. And that's what all these documents will help us to determine what's going on. And keep in mind too, and this is for all of you, a lot of times the doctors don't tell you what's wrong because they don't have a medication to help you. And if they tell you what's wrong and they don't have a medication, you're going to leave the doctor and go to another doctor, and they don't want to lose you. I hope you all just be aware of that. So,
yeah.
And it's good that you're being proactive, Sultry, and coming to us and getting other support. So get those together as quickly as you can. And I don't know where you live, but I'm in the Bronxville office sometimes, some days during the week, but we can also talk by phone or video. But get those labs together as quickly as you can before you keep losing weight, because the more weight you lose is the more muscles you're losing. So you're also losing muscle from your heart and your brain, and you really don't want that, because those are the two most important muscles in the human body, the heart and the brain.
Yeah. So it's urgent, Sultry. And I promise you, Aston will usually be able to tell you a different story based on looking at your labs than what your doctors, because your doctors are looking for the presence of disease. Aston is looking for where your health is not optimal. So he can tell a different story for you and maybe identify something. Either way, you definitely need to give your body some support. And I know NuSpecies formulas can do that. And then we'll guide you through the whole process. So just send in your labs, book an appointment on Aston's calendar, and or visit him at one of the stores. You can just call us and get that information. All right. Rosemary Taylor said she's going to send you over some medical information. Her father-in-law is in Nigeria, but she wants to get him on something for the prostate cancer. And then Darnett was just saying, hey, you didn't call me. Sorry, Darnett. Aston, he said you've been a bit behind, right? he knows he didn't call you. Working on that. As you can see, people are coming into Bronxville, so we have to wrap up.
Darn it, I'm here
Yeah.
in Bronxville today. I need to get your butt over here.
Aha. There you go. Okay. All right. So we do have to wrap up now. Aston's in Bronxville. He'll be there till 6 if you want to pop over. I can put the address in the chat. 118 Craft Avenue. And Donna is saying, please like up the live stream. Please and thanks. Share with your family and friends, people. We really do appreciate that. The more people who can get on here and ask their questions, we can hopefully provide measured and, logical and evidence-based guidance for you to go out and advocate for yourself with your doctors and take good action in your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help you live better and longer. We want to make sure that you're not suffering unnecessarily. And so Darnette said she will try and come. Please do. But otherwise, it's been such a pleasure to talk to all of you. Thank you so much. Keep sharing this with other folks. Get your friends and family on here, especially those who might be skeptical about herbal medicine or how NuSpecies can help them. We are totally fine with skeptical questions. We're not going to get offended. Either NuSpecies is a good fit for you or it's not, but it's better to find that out now than hear the very, very tragic thing that we often hear is people regretting not having found us sooner or starting sooner or not having listened to Aston the first time around when he told them what was wrong. And they just kind of believed their doctors and waited, and then it was too late. So please don't be one of those people. Let us try to help you and your family and friends. So share this with everyone.
I have a quiz for all of you. What are the two best foods on planet Earth? The two best foods on planet Earth. All right, so I got to run.
Do we have time to wait for all the chats to come in? Here's
this
what I can tell
lady
you.
Has been
waiting. Okay, here's what I can tell you is that the Q&As, they always stay up on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch us anytime and go get your answers to your questions. Rosemary says, thanks Jolene and Aston for another inspiring session. You're welcome. And I want to thank all of you for making these things possible. Your questions, your health concerns they are valid. We hear this over and over again. You're not alone. And we're here every Saturday at 10 a.m. to help you. So we will see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. And Aston has moved on to helping clients in Bronxville. So I'm going to end the stream. Thank you so much. And
bye-bye. I'm here in Bronxville. Get your butts over here, all of you.
Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, everyone. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.